In this module, we will create our own parent blueprint for a door. This door will have an animation for opening and closing. After the first module, we will create child blueprints that will each have different ways of calling the logic from their parent. This section will hopefully show you the importance of setting up parents and show you that there's a lot of ways leading to the same result. So just because you're doing something differently doesn't mean it's wrong or that yours is better. It depends on your project. Now, why do we create a parent? Creating a parent in Unreal can save you a lot of time. Our character is a great example of a child blueprint. Our first-person character, its parent, is a character. The parent of a character is a pawn. A pawn, for example, can receive input from the player controller, but does not have the capsule collision, the mesh, or the movement component included in the character class by default. So we will create a door parent that can open and close, and this will allow us to call these open and close events in any child of the door parent. Right, let's create our door parent. I'm going back to the blueprints folder. I'm going to add a new folder called doors. Inside, I'm going to right mouse button and create blueprint class. Like we just talked before, we will just use an actor as our base, and we'll call it BP door parent. Let's open it up. And now we have this. No movement components, no capsule collision, just a default scene root. Now we want to add our meshes to it. So we'll go to add component and we'll look for static mesh. Here we can see static mesh. That's the one we want to add. We'll call this door frame. And we will duplicate it, Ctrl W, or you can add a new static mesh and we'll call this door. Compile and save. Now for the door frame, we want to set the static mesh. We can just look for door frame. There we go. And for the door, we want to look for door again. And select SM_door. Now we need to make sure that these line up. So I'm going to move this to the left. Turn off snapping so we can properly move it. And there we go. Now what do we need this parent to do? What logic do all these doors share? It's the opening and the closing. We'll go to the event graph. We don't need begin play, we don't need tick, we don't need any of this, so we'll delete all of them and we'll add a custom event. And we'll call this open door. We will create another custom event and we'll call this close door. Now we can add a timeline, which we're familiar with. So let's go ahead and add a timeline. We will call this door animation. And when open door is started, we will play. When close door is called, we will reverse. Let's open this up. How long do we want this animation to be? I think 0.75 seconds should be fine. Just like before, we want a value to go from 0 to 1, because we'll do the rotation on that. So we need a float track. Add a key, add another key. We'll select the first one, we'll put it on 0, 0. We'll select the second one and we'll put it on 0.75 and 1. Select both. Key interpolation set at the user will look a bit better. And compile and save. Let's name the key track. And let's name that door alpha. Okay, going back to the event graph. On update, we want to update the relative rotation. So let's select the door. Let's actually go to the viewport and see what we want. So I'm going to switch to rotation mode, which you can do at the top here or by pressing E on your keyboard. And let's see. Let's go 110 degrees, minus 110. Back to the event graph, grab a reference to the door and do set relative rotation. Connect update to set relative rotation. And we can also call a lerp for a rotator. Whenever you're dealing with rotations, even if it's just to do the yaw, I still recommend using the lerp rotator because you get the option to select shortest path. And this will prevent any strange issues from happening where it will rotate along the wrong side, basically. So the alpha is our alpha. The rotation will go from 0 to minus 110. Compile and save. Let's comment our code. Door animation. And that's basically all we need to do inside the BP door parent. And now we can start moving to the children. We have now created our own first blueprint from scratch.